Welcome to Hack the Entrepreneur, the show which reveals the fears, habits, and inner battles behind big-name entrepreneurs and those on their way to joining them. Now here is your host, John Naster.
Hey, welcome back to another episode of Hack the Entrepreneur. Thank you so much for joining me again today. I'm your host, John Naster, but you can call me Johnny. My guest today is a serial entrepreneur and the founder and CEO of headsets.com, which currently has over 943,722 customers. Yes. My guest started headsets.com in 1997 when he couldn't find a supplier with a good selection of headsets, fast shipping, or good product support. My guest says he is a fanatic about giving customer love, so much so that every package the company ships includes a Tootsie Roll. He's also the founder of reserveddinners.com, a not-for-profit organization which offers a dining with celebrities experience that aims to raise money for the honored celebrity guest's favorite cause. Now, let's hack Mike Faith. So 3 or 4 months ago, entrepreneur.com reached out to me and asked me to write an article for them about the essential tools for entrepreneurs in 2017. And I did. Everything I use to run my businesses day to day are on that list. One of those things is Typeform. I've been using Typeform for almost, I'm going to say 2 years at this point, for collecting feedback from listeners like you, for taking surveys after every course or webinar I've ever run. I've set up surveys after to get feedback and also to get testimonials to help sell future products. Typeform is versatile. You can use it at every stage of your sales funnel. To research, for lead generation, to sell stuff with Stripe integration, tutorials, quizzes. I've even seen it used as a sales page, which is pretty damn cool. The results don't lie. Typeform has a 57% completion rate on surveys, which goes against the industry standard of about 20%. That's more data for you and your business to play with. Integrates with your favorite tools, including Google Sheets, MailChimp, Airtable, and hundreds more. You can also collect data through Facebook Messenger with their Typeform chat feature. Yeah, that Facebook bot madness, you can use it with Typeform. Remember, what you ask matters. How you ask is everything. Sign up for free today. Go to typeform.com/hack. Plus, a special offer for you as a Hack the Entrepreneur listener. You can upgrade to Pro if you like what the free trial gives you. You can upgrade to Pro and you'll get 30% off for the first 6 months. Here's how to do it. Go to typeform.com/hack. Plus, they have absolutely stellar support staff and their help center will get you up and running fast. Remember, when collecting data, you have to remember this one rule. Put people first and then data second. And then you'll get all the data you possibly need. Go to typeform.com/hack. We are back with another episode of Hack the Entrepreneur. And today we have a very, very special guest. Mike, welcome to the show.
Hey, John. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely my pleasure. This is going to be a lot of fun. Mike, can you tell me what is the one thing that you do as an entrepreneur that has been the biggest contributor to your successes so far?
Interesting question, John. I think in my early searches, I was always reading books and listening to podcasts like yours and trying to think what that one thing is. And I think my conclusion is that there is no one thing, if I can answer it that way and say, I think there's just in any entrepreneur, and I mix with lots of them, and I've got many entrepreneur friends, and there's a whole range of things, and they're different in every entrepreneur. You get an entrepreneur that's, perhaps listens well and makes good decisions. You get another entrepreneur that perhaps just makes lots of decisions and gets lucky that way. So, I think there's a unique formula in every entrepreneur. But if I had to pick one, And I don't want to, but I will. It's perhaps that burning desire to succeed, that kind of passion that doesn't get put out when they fail.
Yeah, that's what I like to hear. Is this something, would you say, like a burning desire to succeed, is this something that's innate within you, or something that you've sort of adopted over time and realized that is necessary for your success?
Yeah, I think it's probably innate, and I'm a believer that most of our personality traits are there, and we can adjust, and that they change a little bit over time, but generally not much. So I think it's innate and was always kind of within me somewhere, and it's probably manifested in different ways. And it finally found entrepreneurialism when in my late teens.
In your late, okay, let's go back then. So because to your late teens, you've been running headsets.com now for 17, 18, 19 years.
Mm-hmm.
And so there seems to be this time in every entrepreneur's life when they realize one of two things. Either they have this calling to make this huge difference in the world, or they find that they simply cannot work for somebody else anymore. So let's go back to your teens and tell me about which side of the fence you fall on, Mike, and when it was exactly you discovered this about yourself.
Yeah. I think of those two choices. Mine is that I'm probably not that good at working for someone else. I tend to kind of have my own ideas and want to do it my way, whether right or wrong. But maybe early teens, I remember, being involved in, I was brought up in the UK and being involved in little kind of test businesses and buying and selling things and looking for where to, make money. And, I think that was because I was brought up without much money, and it was my only chance to actually have anything was what I could make on my own. So, and then in some of my early jobs, I always did pretty well at first, but I always found that I wanted to be doing things my way and doing them differently. And so, yeah, I think the slightly unemployable is my trait there.
Nice. So you were like a young hustler. I love that about people nowadays. I mean, I might even put myself into that field where like I don't have one specific sort of thing where I can go and make money sort of thing. I just have all these different sort of things that I do. And just kind of, so you think you have that ability, or you had that sort of early on?
Yeah, I think so. And I think, there's a little bit of, there's an element of desire, which means I'm always on the lookout for an opportunity. And, whereas nowadays I keep my opportunities pretty much within headsets.com. I'm walking around thinking all the time, where's the opportunity? What can we do better? How can we do it differently? Who can I speak to next that, I can have an impact with? So, yeah, I think there's an element of opportunism and looking for where one can see an advantage or improve oneself.
So that's such a desire within us as entrepreneurs, right? But like that opportunity. So at what point in headsets.com did you realize that you had to sort of put out that desire and you couldn't just keep doing new things and trying new stuff and focusing on new opportunities?
Yeah. I mean, I think during the first few years, I was doing some other things as well. I had this kind of like, do lots of things and keep myself occupied and lots of opportunity approach. But I think it was 3 or 4 years in when I got really focused and decided actually this could be a lifelong business, and just to do one thing and just to keep doing it and getting better. And I think I think we're more successful the less we do. The less we do, the deeper we go, the more successful we become, and the more we earn and the more we build kind of equity in our business and our value. And then I think the other side of it, John, is that I think the more I've done this one and got into it, it's like a good relationship. Some of them fizzle, but you get into one that works and you keep going deeper and deeper and deeper. And I think it gets even more fun. So I can honestly say that after 18 years doing this, I think I'm having more fun most days than what I ever have had. And I'm pleased to be in that position at last.
Oh, yeah. That's awesome. That's awesome. I love it. All right, Mike, every expert now talks about the 80-20 rule. Do 20% get 80% of the results? Do what you're good at. Delegate the rest. You have told us sort of what you were good at. Could you now tell me something specifically in your business that you are not good at?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, big believer in Pareto's rule there. So not sure if it's 80-20, 70-30, but I buy the principle completely.
Me too.
Yeah, there's a few things I'm not good at. Generally, anything to do with bits of paper and paperwork. And then, I get bored easily. So anything that's repetitive or routine. And then just regular email. I mean, anyone running a company nowadays is generally faced with dozens or hundreds of emails a day. So fortunately, I've got a great personal assistant that does everything that I don't want to do or I'm not good at, or I'm just like haven't got time to do. So I've been able to leverage that position to spend most of my time nowadays doing the bits that I'm either good at or I want to do, or it really needs to be me doing it.
Yeah, that bits of paper stuff and that paperwork, that's so many times what the entrepreneurs behind it, the big picture people, don't want to have to deal with.
Right.
So it's been a while. It's been almost 18 years. But can you go back to the beginning or near the beginning, or you could jump ahead to where you really saw growth? But can you pinpoint it to, say, a position that you hired somebody to replace you in, either the first one in your company or else the one that where you started to really see growth, and what it was that you, I guess what I'm trying to get at is this whole not good at paperwork, not good at that detail stuff in the papers. Did you realize this too soon about yourself, or was this something really early on that you were like, I have to replace, like, Phil, delegate this out because I can't do it?
Yeah, I mean, I think I realized early on, but I just didn't know how to get someone else to do it effectively. So one of the things it took me quite a while to learn was the art of kind of delegation and good management. And I'm still, I'm still learning, and I've got a long way to go, I'm sure. But it was a few years in before I was able to really start getting the hang of that. And I'd say probably only in the last 5 or 6 years, I've been able to get some people around me that really complement my skill sets and do things that are different than me. And my CFO is a great example. I mean, I'll go to the parties every night and meet people and schmooze. And that's not him. But you can give him a pile of paperwork and some projects, and he'll do a thorough, really good job without making mistakes, which is what you want in that role. So different people, different roles, and we can learn to get better at things we're not good at, but we're better off doing the things we're good at.
Yeah, exactly. What's the size of your team now?
About 44 people.
Wow.
46.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's cool. And so you don't run the management of these people?
I've got, I think, 5 people that report to me now. And I know everyone in the company. I know them all by name, but I've got some good managers, I think better managers than me that work with most of the people.
Are all the employees in-house, or are you distributed at all, the team?
We got about half the company here, John, and about half in Nashville. And then we got 3 that work from home, so in Florida. So
why Nashville?
We did a study a few years ago about shipping, and there were 3 cities which we could move part of our shipping to so that we could cover more of the country with ground shipments, but still arrive within 2 days. And we ended up with three options: Atlanta, St. Louis, and Nashville. So for me, it was a slam dunk. Nashville was more of a fun town, so why not do that?
It started out so strategic, and then it just turned out, well, that's a more fun city.
Yeah, well, it was one of the 3. I mean, it was a strategic initially, but those choices were pretty equal. So given equal choices, I thought, why not choose what's fun?
Exactly. That's smart thinking. All right, let's move to work, Mike. So a work day today, I would love to know sort of the first 30 or 60 minutes of your workday, what you do to set yourself up to get the things done today that you need to get done.
Yeah, sure. Well, I always start by kind of thinking through my day and coming up, the list of objectives, not the to-do list. I mean, I've got that anyway, but what do I really want to achieve today? So on the way into work, I usually, in the Bay Area here, I mean, we use Lyft and Uber all the time. So I get Lyft in, which means someone else is driving, and for $6, I've got, a 10, 12-minute ride, and I'm able to organize myself and start getting through certain things. And then when I arrive, my assistant, my personal assistant, has usually gone through my email and decided what I need to do and what I don't have to do, and deal with a lot of it, which gives us a chance just to dive into what do we need to do today and what do we achieve together. So, and then I'll usually start with a meeting with the sales team for 10, 15 minutes to talk about what's going on and what they're up to and some of the bigger opportunities that we're looking at.
Nice. I like it. How do you differentiate between like longer term sort of goals you want and your objectives for the day?
Oh, with difficulty.
That's what I like to hear.
Yeah, it's a nice question. I think as all entrepreneurs, I'd imagine you asked that question because it is a challenge for us.
It is.
I have to keep working at making sure that what I'm doing today is really working towards my long-term goals, and I keep focused on my long-term goals. So the goals throughout the company are on a laminated sheet that everyone has. So, the company goals and the function goals, so everyone can see all the goals that we're working towards. And most days I'll spend some time looking through that, thinking, what are we meeting? What aren't we meeting? What can I influence? And trying to pick the areas where I'm most going to be able to impact the outcome for the benefit of the company.
Laminated goal sheet for the company. That's cool. That's interesting. What kind of like, are these like revenue goals, or are these like philosophical, like we need to impact people's lives in this way or businesses?
Yeah, there's sometimes some revenue goals or unit sales goals, but there's a lot more. And sometimes it'll vary from function to function. But sometimes there'll be very hard number goals. Sometimes there'll be more objectives that we want to move towards that are tougher to measure, but we all understand where we want to go with it.
Nice. And that just keeps everybody on the same page.
You got it.
Excellent. Let's move on to projects. So this might run into sort of your goals and where you want to go, but you personally don't take on new projects outside of headsets.com. That's a great thing to do. But within headsets.com, obviously like starting up a new distribution out of Nashville was a massive project, but this can be very loose. So any sort of new feature, new product, new marketing strategy, something that you determine you want to do. I'd love to know your process or the company's process, and whether that's written or just something you feel within you. But how is something now a project worth, when it comes across your email inbox or your idea, and you determine that this is something worth your time, energy, and resources?
So do you mean, how do I go about determining, or once I've determined, what's my process after that?
No, I want to know how you determine what's the project worth doing and which one isn't worth doing.
Yeah, gotcha. By the way, I mean, I still do some things out of headsets.com, but I'm pretty limited on them. So I don't want to make out I never do it, because otherwise, if one of the listeners one day catches me doing something else, they'll think I was telling fibbies there. So, but I'd say I'm 98% focused on the headsets. What's my process? What's my procedure for determining? John, I don't think there's no written. I mean, I've tried before to look at value things in spreadsheets and look at the risk reward ratio and that, and whereas often I will write down the elements that I think are involved. I think as an entrepreneur, part of the value that you bring as an entrepreneur is you develop a gut instinct. It doesn't mean it's right. It means sometimes I think we all make mistakes and we misjudge, but we're usually pretty quick to get to these are the things I should do and that these are the things I shouldn't. And going back to your earlier question, about our strengths and weaknesses and what we're good at and what we're not good at. I think there's a danger that we can avoid things taking on projects because we're not good at it. And I try and make sure that, okay, we're going to take that project on. I'm not good at it. I don't want to do it. That doesn't mean we're not going to do it. It means that someone else who it's a good fit for and can put the right energy in can do it. Well, I'm going to focus on a different project, which is the right fit for me. So I'm fortunate to have sorry about the sirens in the background.
It's totally fine. Yeah.
Police or someone running by, trying to find me. I think I have a good management team that I work with, and we'll carve things up, and we're like, hey, this is much more you, or this is much more me, and without too much ego or work shifting involved, we pick out the right person for the right projects.
That's awesome. And so then if we take from today and we go back, say 18, 19 years, at some point this idea of headsets.com came across your plate.
Yeah.
What was the process behind it's? To me, I mean, it's a physical product. There's a lot of, the internet was like totally different then, if it even really kind of existed in like a commerce sort of sense. But I would love to know if you can remember back to what you were thinking about entering headsets.com.
Yeah, I think I had a couple of other businesses on the go at the time. And it was just another business. I thought, whoa, I'll start another one. This is fun. I actually had a couple of other people involved in it early on. I wasn't that involved for the first few years. I funded it, and it stalled after about 3 years, which was when I kind of got involved on a full-time basis. But it was just another opportunity at the time. And, I think I had people say, look, you're going to have to deal with inventory and hard goods and cash flow because, do you really want to do this? And being often naive, which I think is the strength sometimes of entrepreneurs, you don't really know what you're getting into. I was like, of course I can do this. Yeah, we're just going to do it anyway. So I bowled in, and I was lucky. It was a good decision, perhaps by luck rather than good judgment at the time.
Yeah, and so it was really just another project until it kind of evolved, and then you were like, this might actually be the project.
Yeah, until we kind of found we really were getting a foothold in the market and starting to take market share. It was a project which turned into, what's going to be a long-term company 18 years in now.
Had you dealt with physical products and fulfillment and stuff prior to that?
Some of that, but products that we'd made ourselves. I was involved in a couple of laminated poster businesses. So it was the first time we were actually kind of buying real value inventory and then holding it.
Nice. And it's interesting. So, ultimately, to put it as base as possible, headsets were a product that people wanted to buy. They were a market that there was money in. And so you didn't have this passion for headsets early on.
You're right. I think many of us don't end up being born wanting to do what we do. And headsets in themselves aren't particularly exciting. Damn useful. Everyone should have one. Yeah. I believe that. But you don't kind of, go around at parties talking about headsets. Or I don't anyway. But the business.
Not even now? Now you must.
No. But the business of headsets is really fascinating. And, I think that drives me and it drives my team. And when there's one market leader that owns the market and you keep nibbling away at their market share and taking bigger chunks of it, it's a fun game. It's David and Goliath, and it's fun being David.
Who's the Goliath?
I don't even like talking about their name.
I don't know headsets that well. I know you're going to say the name. I'll be like, oh, of course.
Yeah.
You don't have to. It's okay.
No, it's fine. It's fine. There's a public company called Plantronics. They're the market leader, and we're they have been for a long time. And they produce some good headsets. They're not the best quality, but they're good headsets. And they've got that kind of mid-ground position. And we're nibbling away. And I think we got another 10, 15 years to go before we take the US market as a majority.
Yes.
So, which kind of makes it exciting for me to think, that's a good kind of medium-term goal.
Yeah, that is a great medium-term goal. All right, Mike, this has been a lot of fun. I want to wrap up on something I'm calling the entrepreneurial gap. And I'm interested in this, especially with you, because you've been at this business now for a fairly long time. And so the entrepreneurial gap is this idea that we live in this gap because as entrepreneurs and dreamers, we're always constantly looking ahead, which we have to, and pushing ahead and setting goals 1 month, 3 months, 6 months, a year, 5 years, 10 years down. Always when you gain more market share, right? When you do this, when you sell this many units, you'll be successful then. But right before we hit those goals, we set loftier ones into the future. We're never fully successful. We will always be successful when, and sometimes we get stuck in this gap where we don't fully appreciate where we've come through, what we've done.
Yeah.
So I would love it right now, Mike, if you would stop, turn around and look back at everything you've come from, everything you've learned, the highs, the lows, the wins, the losses, and tell me how you feel about your entrepreneurial journey up till today.
Yeah. Wow. I feel some emotion coming on already as you ask the question, John. I don't know if I'd change much. I can't, so therefore I don't think about it too much. But, you're right. As an entrepreneur, you're never content. I don't know if non-entrepreneurs are content, but I'm not. I'm always happy, but I'm never content. And that itch that I've constantly got to scratch is part of what makes me up. And, I haven't got huge monetary ambitions. I've got what I want. Life works for me. I've got no debt and I've got what I need. And it's one of the reasons why I probably wouldn't want to sell the company, because what would I do with extra money? I don't need to buy private jets and, these sort of things. So I've still got this scratch, this I want more, but it's more about what I achieve in business. And it's the kind of fun of the game than anything else. So yeah, there's a gap. I like that phrase, the entrepreneurial gap. And I got it, can't help it, and I don't think I'll ever lose it.
I love the honesty because it's true. And we do have this, and I don't know because I'm not a non-entrepreneur either, so I don't know if others are content. But I love I'm always happy, but I'm never content. It's just that sometimes we do need to appreciate, because I know there's going to be so many people listening to you, Mike, and be like, man, if I could ever own a business like that, you know what I mean? Like that would be beyond even the end happiness goal. But then, and you probably thought that 20 years ago too, but now you're there and it's still, well, I want more. I want this. Not that you want more money. It's just, you always want more out of your business, right?
You got it. It's a disease. You can't give it up.
Oh, that's so great. All right, Mike, we've got to talk a lot about your business in passing, but could you please specifically tell the listener where to go find out more about you and your business?
Well, you're very kind. Thank you. Headsets.com, HEADSETS, headsets.com. And I got a personal website, MikeFaith.com, which is a bit out of date now. It needs an update. And of course, always great to see that visitor ticker tick up and think there's more people on our site. I can see it right now. There's 54 people on our site right now. I keep it in front of me. A lot of exciting stuff. So I know when this podcast goes out, that number will go up. Thank you.
It will. It will. And you're also on LinkedIn and maybe Twitter?
Gosh.
Or not?
I don't use Twitter. We're probably on somewhere. I don't know.
Yeah. Excellent. Well, headsets.com and MikeFaith.com. I will link to that in the show notes for everyone, so it's very, very easy for you to find. And yeah, go check out more of Mike's stuff and check out his business in the headsets. So, Mike, thank you again so much for taking the time to join me today. And please just keep doing what you're doing because it is awesome and inspiring to watch.
Hey, John. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate you taking the time to get my thoughts, and good luck with the program and the show. Thank you.
Thank you. Absolutely my pleasure. I'm so happy to get to bring you one of my absolutely favorite tools. In general, one of my favorite tools online, but definitely my favorite tool for surveys, collecting data, and getting customer testimonials. Join with former President Barack Obama. He used this in making data collection a little more human. And you get to sign up for free today. Plus, I worked out a special deal for being a Hack the Entrepreneur listener. Right now, you get to upgrade to their Pro account. Try them out first for free. But then if you wish, you can upgrade to Pro and you'll get 30% off for the first 6 months. Here it is. Go to typeform.com/hack. They have great support and their help center will get you going fast. When collecting data, remember one rule. You have to put people first, data second. And ironically enough, you'll get all the data you possibly need. To get started today, go to typeform.com/hack. Mike, thank you so much for joining me today, and thanks for being so candid in the conversation and when answering my questions, because I know that it really it helps me to get the unfiltered sort of answers, and I know that it helps you out there listening. So thank you for that, Mike. All right, well, that was awesome. I love this. Like, he's been running headsets.com since 1997. Depending on your age out there, you have no idea how far back that is for the internet. That's for commercial sort of internet and selling things, it didn't form much before then. And I love that he's still doing it and that has like 1 million customers. That's amazing. That's so awesome. And I'm so glad that I got to enjoy that conversation with him. So going back, as I always do, I have 4 places I had to go back and listen to. And there was the first 3, but when I got to the 4th one, and it was just, that was it. That was that one thing that Mike said that really, it was it. That was the one thing. Did you get it? Did you hear it? Let's do it. Let's find the hack.
Part of the value that you bring as an entrepreneur is you develop a gut instinct. It doesn't mean it's right. It means sometimes I think we all make mistakes and we misjudge. But we're usually pretty quick to get to these are the things I should do and that these are the things I shouldn't.
And that's the hack. Yes, Mike. I love this. It's been a while since we've talked about that gut and following your gut. This is something that doesn't just come to everybody. It's not like sort of an innate thing you might have within you, but you might also not even be aware that it's there, and you could just get into sort of a stressful situation because you don't know the answer to something, and you'll just get like a crazy upset or sore stomach or something, and that really, it's crazy amount of nerves, and I don't even want to pretend to know the science of it, but it is something. And beyond the gut, and as Mike says, that we will, obviously you'll still make mistakes and you will sort of misjudge the situation, but it's the ability to, and whatever you want to call it, and however you want to define it or find it within yourself, if it's not following your gut, the ability to be decisive is one of the most important like attributes you can learn to nourish as an entrepreneur. It's absolutely essential. The idea of making a decision quick, knowing or feeling that it's the right way to go, but not knowing necessarily, and going that direction and finding out for sure is so much better than just sitting there paralyzed with indecision. This is that whole, you can never see point C from point A, because point B is always in the way. You got to just push towards point B, whatever direction you think that is, and you'll get better at that. You will. You'll get better at sort of deciding which is the right way to go with practice. But again, you never get that by just standing there indecisive. You are so much more likely to fail in business by just being paralyzed with indecision than you are to make decisions that will catastrophically destroy your life or your business. Those things typically don't happen. It's typically the indecision and not the non-movement that causes you to fail. So Mike, thank you. I love that, and I'm glad that this is brought up again because this is huge. This is really big, and I want you to start just being aware of it when you're in these situations. I want you to just kind of pay attention to how you're feeling, and your body will tell you things that you don't even know it's really telling you until you become aware of it and really kind of step back from yourself and try and figure out what it is, and then just make a decision. Try something small today. If you're really hard with decisions, try something small. Doesn't even have to be in your business, but something that you're just like, oh, like even as basic as like, oh, what should I have for lunch? Or you're at a restaurant deciding, just literally just pick something. And you'll realize that like, wow, that actually wasn't that bad. Maybe it wasn't the exact perfect thing at that time, but you know what? Who cares? You made a decision and you moved on with bigger, better things. Mike, thank you. All right. This has been a lot of fun. I thank you again so much for joining me as always. HTEbook.com. That's going to take you right to the site, and there you go. Get on the email list because there's some cool bonuses that I'm going to come up with for people on that list. Plus, let's do it in the next when this comes out, this is going to be out on Monday. Wow. So actually we'll be just starting choosing the artwork for the book, and I'd love to have your opinion in it and take part in choosing what is the cover going to be. So HTEbook.com, and yeah, let's work together on it. It'll be a lot of fun. All right. Thank you so much. As always, it's great fun. And please, just until next time, keep hacking the entrepreneur.